Hello, in this video we're going to show you some of the connectivity options with the Sony Xperia SP. Now this is a pre-production model, but we don't expect any of these connectivity options to actually change come the time of launch. So it has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, DLNA all on board this device. But there are other options, both wired and wireless, in terms of the connectivity that we can utilize here. So the first thing we're going to utilize is a USB host cable. So this is a micro USB connection on one end and a full USB connection on the other. Now we're using a Samsung branded cable here, and what we do is we simply connect that into the micro USB port on the side of the device. So that does nothing until you plug something into the USB connection. So we're going to pop in a memory stick here, and then on the phone itself we're in the file manager and it's popped up with the contents of the disk, so I can click into here and I can view the files that are on the disk. I can then pull it out and I'll no longer have access to the files, but I can go one stage further and I can connect a USB hub. So I've now got an additional 4 USB ports. I can connect up the USB disk again. It's picked it up and the files are accessible. So we've got the USB host cable, then we've got the USB hub, and we're still able to access the files on that. What I'm now going to show you is a Sony PlayStation 3 controller. Now this can connect to the device using a USB cable like so. So you need to connect into the controller and then into the hub in this case. And what we'll see is the power lights come on the PlayStation controller. And in a few seconds we'll be able to use the controller. So if you can see on screen on the SP, I'm actually navigating using cursor keys. I can press the X button, I'm into the menu, I'm scrolling through like so, and that's working through the USB hub whilst we still actually have the memory stick connected. So let's just go back into the file manager here. So you can see on here we've got the user guides, and I can flick through using the PlayStation controller, so the two of them are connected via the hub. Of course I can then disconnect the controller. I can also disconnect the hub, and I can connect the controller straight into the USB host cable, and I can still navigate around the screen using the PlayStation controller. And bearing in mind that this is a PlayStation certified phone, you can use this controller for playing certain games. Now I'm not going to demo games, but you get the idea. The controller is functioning with the device. So if I now disconnect the controller, just going to bring in a USB hard drive to explain that we've tried a number of hard drives, all powered by USB, either USB 2 or USB 3. We've tried 2 Western Digitals and a Samsung, and none of them have worked with the phone. So if we actually connect out via the USB host cable on the phone, it doesn't detect them, or sometimes it comes up with sort of an error, and that's because whilst it's providing some power, as shown by the light here, it's not providing enough power to really power the drive properly and be able to read the content. So you can see here in the file manager I'm seeing no USB storage. Now it might be that an external drive that has a separate mains power connection to them will work. We don't have one to hand to be able to actually test that, but USB hard drives are more common and they're not functioning. And we've even gone to the stage of using this, the Sony Ericsson Live Dock, which essentially in itself is a glorified USB host cable, but has a power input as well. And when we connect to the hard drive, including the external power, that did not function either. And just to actually show you the live dock in action, let's just connect this up to the Xperia SP. You do need mains power to this, so we'll pop that in there like so. And then what we'll do is we'll now connect the USB disk into here, and you'll see the USB disk is visible yet again, and we can view the content on here. Let's just see if we can then do a USB hub from the live dock. So we pop the USB cable in, we're getting power to the hub, and then if we pop the drive in again, we can see the contents is there. So there's lots of versatility around what you can actually connect, and of course you could connect your PlayStation controller in here as well. So I'm now just going to disconnect that, and now what I'm going to show you is some of the wireless options, really around a Bluetooth mouse. So we've connected this up via Bluetooth, and as you can see I've got a mouse pointer on screen. I can scroll around the screens, I can access content on the device, so I can go into a web browser here, and then what I can bring in is a Bluetooth keyboard that I've connected. Now I'm going to have to sort of show you this out of shot, but typing in a web address, and there we're running over Wi-Fi, but this will go to the Clove website. There we go, it's a little bit slow, but I could then navigate around the website. Of course we've got it in portrait mode, but I can orientate it into landscape mode, and at the same time I can still use my fingers on the screen, but I can now scroll through with the mouse wheel. I can click into a particular product on the phone or the web page and navigate like I would on a desktop device. Okay, so now we're going to try inserting a 64GB micro SD card into the Xperia SP. So to insert a micro SD card, we remove the back cover like so. We've got a micro SD slot here, and we slide the card into the slot like so. Now I won't replace the back cover for the purpose of this demonstration. We unlock the screen. We've got a notification here that there's a blank SD card. If we tap this, we can then format the card. Now you have to format the card in the phone itself for it to be read. So it's now preparing the SD card. So it looks like that is complete. So if we now go into the settings, scroll through to storage, we've got the phone storage, and then we've got the SD card that's reading at 59.45 gigabytes, which is correct for a 64 gig card. So that's the Xperia SP reading a 64 gig micro SDXC memory card. I'm just going to show you the Sony Xperia SP connected up to an HD display. Now you can see that we've got a 42-inch screen in front of us here. This is an HD resolution, and if I just pan out the shot slightly, you'll see down in the bottom corner is the Sony Xperia SP, and that's connected up using an MHL HDMI adapter, the link to which is in the description for this video. And what we've also got paired up is a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and I'm just going to show you here. You can see the mouse on screen, and what I can do is I can actually navigate around the device completely remotely, and I can do all the normal things I would on the smartphone, but connected to an HD display. So I can navigate around this website. I'm just running over Wi-Fi here, but you kind of get the idea that I can go in, I can click on a product, and do my normal web browsing. So I can go into messaging, I can start a new message, and then using the keyboard I can perhaps type in a number. I could then go in and write the main context of a message. So this is just showing an example of text messaging, but you can do this with all sorts of things, from documents to YouTube to other content on your device, be it Facebook, loads of other stuff. It makes it a very versatile option for you with the Sony Xperia SP.